Hello, everyone. How are we doing today? Let me close this. I have a special guest with me today. I've got our friend of the show, the man, the myth, the legend himself, DJ Miles. DJ Miles, let me just make sure I got your. All right, hold on. You may speak, sir. You may introduce yourself.
Yes, yes. Hello, hello. Can you guys hear me?
It is coming through, brother man. Tell us what
Perfect.
you're about.
Ooh, well, I'm pivoting into Blue Lock content, believe it or not. So maybe not the thing I should be talking about on this stream, but
I saw
but
that.
for now,
I did see that. I did see that. I'm
yeah,
excited on that for you. I'm not caught up, so
yeah.
we can't chat about that sadly. But
Sure, 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 sure. I don't think people joining us are really interested on the U20 World Cup match, but right now I do talk about Chainsaw Man and Don to Don. That is the channel's identity. It's been that way for a while, and it just so happened that when I recorded my mini review, it was because I was recording my other stuff. And it just serendipitously worked out that wow, chapter 210 really did change everything.
yeah, like it is actually insane how I know some people get tired of it, and I've actually seen some people in my comments say that they don't like that people talk about Chainsaw Man this way, but it really is undeniable that like
Yeah.
there are sometimes like it really is just the Fujimoto effect where like it's unreal how like there'll just be just a string of chapters where just not much is going on. It's like, okay, where is this really going? I'm not entirely sure what Fujimoto is really trying to convey from this. Like, we can get as like creators, we can kind of piece together our like idea of what maybe in try to get into Fujimoto's head a little bit as to what he's trying to convey, but then there's just always these bombshell chapters like this where like all of a sudden like everything, but this time everything we know is like changed because this has not just such dramatic significant changes for just one of our main characters, but also it means a whole heck of a lot of things for the future of Chainsaw Man as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And I shouldn't be surprised that Fujimoto kind of took it in the direction that he did. But when you reread the chapter multiple times, and then even some people in my comment section said it's like it's not nuclear war that is like the nucleus. I mean, maybe it is, but the thing that's setting this catalyst and Yoru's big Zenkai boost is the fear of America. Everyone is scared of America. That is why Yoru is in love with America, and that is why when now it kind of comes full circle that the concept of war is pretty much symbiotic with America. If that's the commentary he's trying to take with it, I'm on board. I know it's not the message maybe some people want to hear, especially the patriotic, passionate people here in America. But yeah, man. I mean, if
I
we can start
mean,
right there, how do you feel about that?
yeah, I mean, honestly, it doesn't surprise me for one, like what a character, not a character, Fujimoto's not a character. Fujimoto, like it's not doesn't surprise me what a person like Fujimoto, how he feels about the country of America, specifically considering, obviously what happened back in the day to his own country that he lives in, that we did to them. And honestly, the
Mhm.
nuclear devil being a direct reference to that specifically with his own relationship to maybe not being directly involved, but probably having plenty of people he may know directly or have family involved that I'm sure dealt with the after effects of Hiroshima and Nagasaki and everything like that, and like and like it obviously like it makes sense like you said, like for people that like are super it's not to call direct people out obviously, but there I did see a bunch of comments in the community, especially my channel and other channels as well, but like of people being like, oh, like Fujimoto doesn't have much of a political lens, and I'm like, no, I definitely disagree. Like especially if you've seen some of the work he's done outside of Chainsaw Man. Like I think there was I think there was the drawing he did of Captain America that he
Yeah.
submitted, and that drawing of Captain America is like it gives you the perfect idea for like what Fujimoto thinks and what we're probably going to get going forward. But whether
Mhm.
whatever way you look at America, whatever way you want to look at it, whether you love it, you hate it, it's undeniable that being the number one superpower in the world, you're gonna have some corpses, stacked underneath you to get to being a number one superpower. So even for the people that don't want to admit that, oh, America bad, or we've done some bad things, and they always want to look at good things,
Sure.
it's very cut and dry what Fujimoto is getting at here, and it also makes complete sense to me that if of all the countries in the world, if the embodiment of war itself was to take the most power from something, it would be
Yeah.
America. And also, just to kind of
Yeah.
go into also and fully answer your question, and then pass it back over to you. I said something after I read this chapter that I thought was super duper super duper funny, and probably isn't true, but it's just a funny way to look at things. Like you said, like the fear is coming from America. We got the nuke devil back, but Yoru's main power up is that everyone is scared of America specifically. That's what you reduce it down to. It's For me, it's really funny to think that like Fujimoto kind of runs things. Considering like how long part we've gotten part two, and how long it's been running from right now. How much, like, if you look at it, sometimes you could argue that it might be a mirror of current world events that Fujimoto is currently watching unfold. Like you said, like, there's a lot of fear stoking around America in the world of Chainsaw Man, but not for nothing. Again, whatever side of the political spectrum like you see it on, there's also a lot of fear getting stoked around the world for America today, currently, right now. So like it's just funny to me to think that like Fujimoto, like of all times, would drop this out. And I'm like, it's funny to think like, what if Fujimoto does part two like South Park, where he's just like, you know what, like all right, like I was taking the story in this way, but let me make a couple little small changes here based off of what's going on in the real world. Like even things with the Chainsaw Man church and stuff like that, like with like
Mhm.
the political protests, and we have a bunch of radical youth that are all about to hit voting age that could tremendously change like the landscape of everything, not just in like, like, oh well, the Western like perspective, like, oh, like America, like also the same thing in Japan, also the same thing in Eastern countries as well. It's happening all around the world. So it's really interesting to think about that. But I've yapped for a long time. You go
No, 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 dude. I love hearing you yap. That's why people are watching us. They
ahead.
want to hear us yap. Can I just say, and again, I feel like people are going to be like, "This is why you have to wait until it's over." Look, yeah, okay, but doesn't the Chainsaw Man church arc feel so much more appreciated now that
Yes.
we're at this point in the story?
Hmm.
It's like that arc is actually now better because of what has happened with chapter 210 and taking it into the political politics of it all, right? With where we are. And then like you said, I'm sure Fujimoto already had the vision, but it's a little eerie and scary how, like, yeah, stuff happening around the world with America and indirectly with America and just everything else, how this chapter is kind of more like on the nose. And that's a little, I don't know how people might feel about that, right? But I think now more than ever, this is where we can kind of have these adult conversations. And, whether you're on one side or not, I think it's just important to hear other people's POVs, you know? Um,
110%.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
I completely agree with you on the whole Chainsaw Man church thing. I think that's something that with the weekly fatigue of Chainsaw Man can sometimes be just tough. To like with all the like for how long sometimes it feels like we say that nothing is happening. There is still so much like clogging the mind sometimes in the weekly read process that like sometimes like you might not remember that the world has been in a constant state of like basically almost on the brink of war. People are starving. There's mass poverty since the falling devil, since they had that mass gravity attack that affected a large portion of the world that fucked a lot of people up. You've also had just the growing, just apocalyptic nature of everything, and the amount of the devils that have been increasing in power and constantly appearing. And that like you have all, and you also have the Chainsaw Man church I mean, like honestly, like the state of the world just in Japan alone, like you can really see, like obviously, sure, like I was surprised when famine showed up at school and people were still going to school. I'm like, wait a minute, aren't isn't there still parts of the city that are like in complete riot and just people are dying and getting killed and there's no law? Like it's like the state of the world, especially you figure Japan is a first world country. Like if crazy shit is going on in Japan, sure that might be the concentrated center because Denji, Yoru, all these people are there, but like it's been made very apparent in the background that like, you know, the world has also been ramping up and has been increasing. And so like I definitely feel like while the nuclear war or the nuclear devil showing up is definitely a surprise that not a lot of people expected, I think that Fujimoto set it up very well for it to randomly, you know, to kind of appear so random. But then when you look back, you're like, oh, actually, I guess this makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man, there's a few points I want to take what you just said. So I guess the first one is I like how now when looking back, how it really started with like the hero Chainsaw Man, right? Like Denji was kind of like, posing, right? Like having these interviews and he's the hero and like we're starting off the narrative with like, I mean some time has passed between Makima, of course, but like Japan's in a good place. And then, things slowly turn for the worse. And God, why is Fujimoto so good at this? Thinking about the Justice Devil, the quote unquote Justice Devil is doing all this crazy stuff. And then we see the War Devil. It's like, man, all this stuff leading up to America. It's kind of wild. It was like right underneath our noses. To what you said, slowly within each arc, things slowly get a little bit worse and worse. It starts with like, Chef Mommy and then like her gravitational force kind of making things, a little A-wire. And then, the Chainsaw Man Church with the political strife happening with the kids believing one thing against the adults, or now the upper echelons, the government, now trying to have their ultimate say too, doing stuff with the aging devil and leading it up to the gun goddess. It's like, dude, and the tank devil. It's like, man, how American are all these things leading up to this point? And again, we're just bamboozled. Bamboozled. That's kind of wild to think about. I had another point and I completely lost it. But it was in tandem with that. But man, what did I want to say after that? Yeah, yeah. I mean, look, the going with the week by week, and this is why I stopped talking about Chainsaw Man. It wasn't even so much I was burnt out. And I'm going to talk about Blue Lock for a second. Just within a chapter, and we can even talk about One Piece and JJK.
Mm-hmm.
There's just a lot happening within
Yes.
18 to 22 pages. So when we only get 14 to 15 pages, and Chainsaw Man isn't like Hunter x Hunter with its dialogue, or even Blue Lock for that matter, yeah, it's a little hard to kind of like, be uppity with it because there's not much to discuss. And the little that we can discuss, our theories are going to be way off or we're not even remotely close to what will transpire.
Yeah.
So yeah, so to get to this culmination, it's like great. And now again, like reflecting back, it's like, okay, the Chainsaw Man Church arc was kind of okay to me, but now I'm so excited to reread part two again. And it sure is vastly different from part one, but I think part two, I don't want to put words in your mouth. I feel like the bigger message in part two is way more obvious than what it was in part one.
Oh, 110%. 110%. I think part two as a slow burn, I would much prefer as opposed to the 14, 15 pages. Like if we got like a kaiju number 8 situation where we got like 25, 30 pages every like other week or like even like every 2, 3 weeks, like I would much prefer that because you're right. I feel like part two as a binge when you're just reading it as a whole altogether, the story just flows so much more fluently because you pick up on a lot of those things so much more easily, and those things aren't lost in the sauce of Denji getting his balls kicked in every week. You know what I mean? Like when that fatigue sits in, you're like, all right, Denji's going through this again, or all right, this is going through again. It's easy to forget the small little details here and there that actually build up everything. Like it's funny to me that Yoru now almost feels like she's like completely taken on like the main villain role, especially with the way that the chapter ended with our new friend Little D, showing up to talk with Denji, because we know that at the end of the day Not Denji. Death doesn't want to start the apocalypse. It's she's made it very clear that, hey, I enjoy life. I enjoy being in this world. I'm gonna do what I can to stay in it. And sure, she sent Falling after Denji and Yoru to power them up, but obviously she has some kind of bigger plan. That's why she's meeting up with Denji now. I just I think it's with Yoru getting put to have this ulterior motive where she's going to do something that's even worse than the apocalypse. I feel like we still have to have Famine do something important before the story ends, just because with the whole Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse thing, obviously Makima, she was the first one. She pretty much went through her whole arc. She did her damage on the world. And honestly, I personally feel like you can still see the effects of the Control Devil or the Conquest Devil, like in the world today, with public safety still being around. The very idea of all of these the devil hunters and all of that stuff, like even though Makima's gone, her presence can still be felt, and it can still be felt over Denji. You've now got War Devil Yoru, who's now fully powered up by America, who's now reintroduced nuclear weapons. And Famine was sent off to also power herself up. She still hasn't really figured it out yet, and we don't know whatever really happened to her. But it makes sense that with Yoru awakening to her powers randomly, it's certain, I'm sure, that Famine might awaken to her powers randomly, and that's probably what will most likely happen with Death if everyone achieves their final state. But regardless of that, I guess I have two questions for you. Well, I guess three if you want to respond to that first. But
Sure. Let me jot these down so I can remember.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
Go ahead.
Well, if you want to respond now, I can hold on to mine.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No. You go ahead.
Oh, no. I'm saying I'm gonna write down the points, your 3
Okay.
points, so I don't forget them somewhere like mid.
All right. So my question is, like, with the return of the Nuclear Devil, do you are you also like me in thinking that the mention that Yoru made, where all higher level devils will somehow make their way and appear before the Death Devil makes their final stage, makes the apocalypse or ends the world? Like, for me, like, now seeing that, like, Denji didn't need to puke nukes up. America reinvented nukes. Is this now going to lead to, even though all of these devils, these supposedly amazingly high level devils, were erased before and gone to time, is now that everything is gearing up for Death to take the world, is what Yoru said of, all high level devils will appear before everything happens. I can't explain it, even though Nayuta's dead, maybe she'll appear as something new by then. What if we do see now, like, somehow, randomly in some country, it doesn't have to be Germany because it's Fujimoto's story, but somehow randomly, the Nazism and not the Nazi devil reappear, and like some of the other crazy things that Makima mentioned, the AIDS devil and all this shit, like out of nowhere, is that gonna happen now?
Yeah. Honestly, go to that chapter. I think it was chapter 84 or 86, where Makima listed all those things. I wonder if we're going to see all of those things.
Yeah.
Like AIDS, Nazis. There was some type of syndrome in there. I forgot. So there's that. To simply answer your question, I think yes. I think Fujimoto doesn't bring something up and not at least reintroduce it in some way, right? Kind of like in part one with Power making the contract with Denji to like find the Blood Devil and turn that Blood Devil back into me. I think when they were having that conversation on the rooftop, when they were watching the city on fire, it was like Denji who asked Yoru, right? Like, hey, am I gonna find the Control Devil again or something like that? And she's like, well, if you do, it's not gonna be the same person, and then on top of that, we have all these high-ranking devils greeting death. Right. And she specifically mentioned Fire Devil, which we saw the Fire Devil. And then Denji mentioned, I think, the Control Devil at that point. And then that's when Yoru was like, well, if it's the same person, then, I don't know. It could be someone else entirely. So just kind of brace yourself for that.
Yeah.
And I feel like Fujimoto is also telling us that as well. But I still think, to not pivot too much, I think Naita is just still a part of the narrative in some capacity, because we're too far into this narrative to introduce a new horseman. Like, Naita is a pivotal part in Denji's character, his trauma, his loss, his grief, Naita is going to be there in some form, even if it's like some zombified form of Naita. You know, I think she has to be there. But yeah, to answer your question, yeah, I think we're going to see the quote unquote high ranking generals greeting death. Now, I think the question we need to ask ourselves that I want to ask you is that I don't think in Little D, I was going to call her baby, in Little D's quest to have this Nostradamus prophecy happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
She says it's going to happen whether or not, like, you know, subconsciously or, you know, if I bring about it, that, oh my God, I lost my train of thought. Hold on, give me a sec. Oh my God, I lost it. I lost it. Hold on, give me one
Little
second.
D, her quest.
Little D bringing up, that that this was going to happen with or without her consent. And she basically consumed her sister and the fake chainsaw man and falling devil, and they were guided or they were instructed to cause terror because more terror is going to bring about this Nostradamus prophecy. However, was part of this prophecy like, was she thinking 4D chess and assuming that Yoru was going to receive this crazy power amp, that America was going to reinvent nukes? Because I think Lil D wasn't dumb enough in knowing that, like, well, the nuke devil is gone, right? Like, did you think Lil D knew that nukes was gone and there was no part in her plan that, wait a minute, we're going to make Yoru a little stronger, but not as strong as she is now?
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't. I wouldn't put it past Death whatsoever. I definitely wouldn't, just because she's always had this weird kind of like 4D chess thing about her, right? Especially with the reveal of her being the Death Devil and not being the Famine Devil. Like, it really puts a lot of different things into perspective. Because I remember before we got the reveal that she was Death, or I think right when we got the reveal, I thought Death might have just been completely just incompetent. Like, if she just was like, hey, I'm going to do this to stop the apocalypse. I want to do this to stop the apocalypse. And it's kind of like that old trope of, like, you know, if you constantly walk down the path trying to avoid your fate, you're just going to bring the fate on. Like, even though she constantly does everything she can to, like, try to avoid the apocalypse, everything she does just brings it closer and closer and closer, because inevitably that's what it's ultimately been towards. But you make a really good point with one of the things that she's also been doing throughout all of these plans and things that she's been, you know, invoking, is making Denji and Yoru stronger. That's something that she's always made very apparent. That's her main goal, is to put them through strife and put them through things that will make them stronger. And you saying that, you know, she isn't stupid enough to just send these people, the Falling Devil and Famine, out and do stuff randomly with no understanding of what that will do. If there really was like an idea of like, hey, you know, the Falling Devil, not the Falling Devil, the nuke, she also somehow played a hand in the Nuke Devil returning as well. That was also part of her plan. It would also just make sense because, like I said, she's always wanted to power up Yoru. She's always wanted to make her strong enough to potentially kill her. Now, I guess the issue would be is Death willing to sacrifice herself, sacrifice the Nostradamus prophecy in lieu of, you know, again, Yoru being the actual main villain who Asa claims is planning something worse than what Death could ever do anyway. Like, you know, did she inadvertently create the final villain accidentally? But like, by trying to, but like, that's how selfish she is. Like, oh, I prefer this. I'm gonna die. You guys are all safe. The apocalypse is stopped. But oh, you might be stuck in eternal war with Yoru though. Sorry, peace out. And then that's it. But yeah.
Okay, you know, I don't want to say I'm surprised you said that. I thought you were gonna 100% believe what I was gonna say, in that I think Lil D didn't know what happened was going to happen, right? Like, I think she had this plan of like Denji and Yoru getting stronger, but not to the point where we now see a primal fear, which primal fears have been known to like never die, never be defeated, turn into fucking spaghetti by a horseman of the apocalypse, right? Like, I didn't think that was in her plans. because there's a point when when we see the real Fami being introduced, and she talks to Yoru of like, why don't you just let Chainsaw Man eat you? And she like thinks about it. She's like, huh, I didn't think about that before. So to me, I am just under the assumption that like if she didn't think simply about like just Chainsaw Man consuming her, I don't think it was in her 4D chess brain to think like, oh wait, I knew Yoru was going to be strong, but I didn't think America in the 10th, inning, 11th inning was going to like reinvent nukes at to the point where now the fear of America, like a concept created by humanity, was going to trump a primordial concept like falling. Now I could be completely wrong, right? Because now that I heard your point, I'm like, well, that definitely could be the case too. But to me, I just felt like Fami wasn't that smart.
I think it could go either way, honestly. Like I definitely agree. Like I think honestly it's a 50-50. Like I still couldn't completely believe that again, Death is just incompetent and she's not realizing that the universe isn't completely in her control, right? Like she can make all of her plans, but if America, like you said in the 10th inning, does something she could never predict, then well shit. What can I do? I guess like I also see the other side of it being that like if she does want Yoru and Denji to kill her, if that was her goal of always making them more powerful, her if Death is supposedly the most powerful devil of all time, I would imagine that also would require Yoru and Denji to be strong enough to kill falling, like a primal, to be able to kill a primal fear. Because
Sure, that
also
makes sense.
also something it makes me question is you know, it seems like when nukes were recreated, it almost seemed like Yoru regained memories with her power. Not that she completely forgot what nukes were. She brought them up way back in the beginning of part two, but she completely forgot what a larger source of her power was, which was America, as opposed to everything that she was doing before. It makes me wonder, like one, what was the reason that Chainsaw Man ate nukes before? Was it always because they had the power to defeat primal fears? Because again, if Chainsaw Man eats something and everybody forgets it, it wouldn't surprise me if Falling Devil also didn't remember when mankind created nukes, and when she said, "Hey, mankind hasn't yet created a weapon that's been able to defeat primal fears. Like, you
Mhm.
guys are just failing for nothing." When in actuality, the nukes were always what mankind was able to use against primal fear. That was always a thing. Maybe she had never, but again, even if she had ever met that, and even if she never died before because of it, she would never remember the nuke devil to begin with. So she would never remember mankind having the power to kill primal fears anyway. But so like I'm very interested to know like what it obviously we may this may be like lore information we just may never get because frankly it's that we're
Yeah.
very small details at this point, but like
Mhm.
what was the nuke devil why was the nuke devil eaten before by Chainsaw Man? Why were all of these devils previously eaten by Chainsaw Man? And it also makes me think that if Yoru was able to get this huge power boost the moment that the nuke devil was reborn, and she remembered that, oh my god, America is the source of my power, and she became strong enough to defeat a primal fear, and the goal is also to power up Denji as well. Obviously she's meeting up with Denji in the shadow realm, the mind, whatever the fuck is going on here, but also at the
Sure.
same time, I can't forget a conversation that we had a long time ago, and also what someone's bringing up in chat as well, which is what if the Chainsaw Man we've always theorized about, the birth devil, has something to do with maybe he was another version of life or death originally, and just now he was reduced to the chains, because it's so weird that the chainsaw devil would have this power to just outright erase beings from existence just by eating them. It's always been weird. It's Chainsaw Man, it's zany, it's quirky, so it's not something that really gets debated all too often, but like to have the power of the executioner of hell, like what if with all of these high level devils returning, um it's possible that one of these alternatives to death, or one of these alternatives to birth or whatever that Makima kind of hinted at, is reborn, and it almost reawakens memories inside of Pochita that also powers up Denji as well significantly, and also makes him back to this all-powerful being that was strong enough to supposedly defeat
Yeah.
Yoru, even, past this. Because the one thing I will say is, like, while Falling does say, hey, I knew war was, I knew war was more powerful than this, but I don't ever remember her being that big of a deal. That's also, again, that could go with the thing that I kind of said earlier. Again, all of this stuff is 50-50. I don't know. This could all just be hearsay, but, she could
Yeah.
also just not remember what Yoru's true power was because of things like Nuke being erased, things like whatever. And who knows, again, that being said, who knows if this is also the final stage of Yoru's power? There could be something else as well that gives her more. But
Yeah.
either I think there's so
Ooh.
much that can be held in this little, like, what comes next of more devils showing up. What's Denji's power up going to be? Because he's clearly not at the level he needs to be at to even, whether he handles Death or Yoru at the end of this, he's not ready to do either. So, and he doesn't have Aki and everybody else like he did in part one to, like, not that, I mean, either way would ever happen in part one, but, like, he doesn't have the help, long story short, that he did. He doesn't have Kishibe. Maybe Kishibe shows up in the end. This is when we get Kishibe. But, like,
Yeah.
unless something like that happens,
Okay. Okay. Confession. I'm gonna say it. I've now given up on the Kishibe. I think he's just not in the story. I don't know why. I think when this story is all said and done, that is like you just got to dock some points. Again, it's not that I want to see Kishibe. It's just that I know
Uh-oh. Oh, wait. Oop. We lost you for a second. Uh-oh. You're kind of coming in muffled. It sounds like the connection's bad. I don't, maybe it's me. Hold on.
Yeah.
It's still kind of messing up. Hold on. No, yeah.
Now,
Nope.
yeah.
I muted you on stream just so until we get this figured out, because it's coming through all, like, staticky, crazy. Mine's coming up okay, I think. I don't know if it's I don't think it's me. Guys, am I still going? What's going on in Uh-oh. Uh-oh. That's also I think it also is me as well. It might be me. Rutro. How are we doing, chat? What's going on here? Are we back? Are we so back? Uh-oh. Hold on. Hold on. Are we good, chat? Are we good right now? That was me. That was me having bad connection. I'm fine. All right, now we're coming in okay. I don't know what was going on there. My internet just went out for a second. I think we should be good now. Oh, wait, hold on. I didn't realize DJ was calling me. Hold on. Miles calling me. Yo. Yeah, that was me, I guess. I don't know what was going on there. Yeah, that was me. That wasn't you. That was my fault. Oh, oh. Yeah, literally. All right, hold on. Now we got you. Now we got you. We're back. We're back in action. Yeah, we're good. We actually, I think it was like right when you first started talking that it went out. So really, it didn't. We didn't really get too far into everything. Yeah.
Where we need to pay attention to the aging devil arc, because there was a lot of things now I feel like Fujimoto just foreshadowing or introducing to us where it's like, okay, this concept first, let's talk about the Denji Pochita thing, right, where
Yeah.
it's like, okay, the whole symbolism of like the trees and being cut down and humanity prior to, devils not being a thing, they can become trees for 2,000 years and then be reincarnated into a human again. And what's the thing that cuts it down? Denji. And we literally see it happening within that arc as well, where, there's also a reason why devil powers don't work either. And I wonder if that's also something subtle that we're missing as well, being in that realm and not using his powers. But the chainsaw, a physical chainsaw, or I'm sorry, not physical chainsaw, an axe is what's cutting it down, right? But we can quickly pivot that to the physical chainsaw man, Pochita itself, and yeah, what if there's something above that, primal Pochita
Hmm.
or final form Pochita, sorry, that isn't like what if that's like the Charmeleon form, and we still haven't seen Charizard yet, right? Like, because yeah, you brought something really good that I guess we'll find out how 211 pans out. If Yoru is basically in her final form, no way in hell is Denji and Pochita in their final state, right? Like we saw now, granted, Pochita didn't want to fight Yoru when it was asking for blood, and then or I guess before asking for blood, it got like blown up by the gun goddess, right? Like Pochita was like not really fighting, but still I can accept that, like, hey, he gracefully lost that battle, right? Okay, if they were even there, Yoru's way stronger now, and I think this is why Lil D is talking to Denji here, like, hey, like we got to figure out some type of plan because where you're at right now is not going to be enough to defeat Yoru, and we got to keep in mind that Asa, she kind of teased us here, right? That what Yoru's planning is going to be something way worse than what the Nostradamus prophecy is going to be, you know even to the point where Yoru is telling Asa that, hey, now you kind of sit back and watch because, I'm not in love with Denji, I'm in love with America. And what is that going to pertain? Who the hell knows? But to bring it back to what you were saying, I think the clues really lie in the aging devil arc. And again, I already like the aging devil arc
Hmm.
as it is, but much like the Chainsaw Man Church arc, I think we're going to appreciate it much more because now there are subtle clues there. Um, even to the stuff that public safety was kind of wanting with the aging devil, right? Like I think Fumiko said something, I'm gonna butcher, but it was like, okay, they can throw up like snow, for example, or no, it wasn't snow, but like they can throw up something, but like they still had the cell phones or something like that,
Yeah,
right? It's like, oh, the concept is.
when the ears were eaten, for some, the humans still somehow developed public, I think it was like public radio, and like there were still movies and and cell phones and ways to communicate, but humans still
Mhm,
didn't have
mhm.
ears. So it's like it was weird how society still found way still went down similar paths, even though we would have no reason technically to go down the same paths because we didn't have
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
ears.
Yeah. And like how crazy is that? Like one of the full circle moments too, where it's like, no, nuke has been devoured, but yet here we are, America bringing it back. You
Hmm.
know? Yeah. So I think the answers definitely lies somewhere there. I think even just rereading that arc is going to bring lots of things. But yeah, what final form is there of Pochita? And again, like you said, I think it's just so incredible to think that, like, Pochita is this like little pup, weakened right when Denji found it, kind of had holes in its stomach, a baby, practically a baby. And then we end up finding out that the Chainsaw Man devil is like the hero of hell. It's one of the most frightening devils because it can erase concepts. But what, much like nuke to war, what if there is some type of deviation or some adjacent form of like death and like erasure from that is Pochita itself. And then what if there's some higher up form where it like gains some clarity, right? Where it's like, oh yeah, it's not that I'm this, I'm really this, right? So yeah, man, I'm excited.
100%, 100%. I think I just had what happened to you. I had a point perfectly, and then I
You
just
had a move
completely
part.
lost
No,
it.
it's all good.
What should we call it? I guess I wanted to ask in regards to, I guess, where we're going from here, um after all of this. I guess give me your best guess as to where we're gonna go from here. Like, what do you think is gonna happen?
Okay. Well, I think if there's any hints of stuff happening, I think now where, we're going to see things just get more chaotic on Yoru's end, America's end, etc. Everyone's scared of that. Um, I think we're going to see the Blood Devil again. I think we're going to see the Blood Devil again. I think at some point, that Blood Devil is going to be turned back into power, right? Like that's one of the things I wanted to mention. You were talking about
Is
like we have no
Rize
Aki, we have no
coming
power.
back?
I want her to come back because I've said it in the last stream. I think it's just so weird that Fujimoto purposely omitted the most popular weapon slash hybrid when we've seen the other six. And a lot. I don't know about your comment section, but in my comment section on this latest review, a lot of people were saying, "Well, Reze has to appear, right? Like bombs are
Mm-hmm.
basically nukes." It's like, yeah, I mean, it's right there, right? Like it's kind of a little weird. It's a bit weird if we don't see Reze in some capacity like now in these upcoming like 5 to 10 chapters. Again, even if she's quickly taking out, or she's in some weird like absorption form, right? Like how Yoru absorbed the falling devil. It's like, oh yeah, like bombs are naturally here. Like this is the hybrids are some of the most powerful devils in this verse for a particular reason, right? You got the flamethrowers, you got the spears. Like these are big, powerful weapons that a lot of people can uh all agree that are bad to some degree. So I think bombs or Reze not being here, I think is a little weird. But I also admitted like 10, 15 minutes ago, I think Kishibe isn't going to appear anymore in the story. And I think Kishibe not being in the story is really weird. So I would love to be proven wrong on both those aspects. I think Reze has to. I would like for her to appear in some capacity, but I think for sure we're going to see the Blood Devil. I think we're going to see Naita back. And I think now this is where we're going to see an interesting POV with like Lil D telling Denji like, "Hey, like all these high-ranking generals or whoever's going to greet me, like we gotta like team up somehow. We gotta team up. We gotta take down Yoru. But then, how does that really prevent the Nostradamus prophecy, and how does that prevent Death from dying herself too? Right? So, dude, it's man, you're asking a lot out of me, my guy, my brother. I don't know. I don't know.
I hear you. I hear
what,
you.
what what about you?
I definitely think something has to happen with famine. Whether that is like the next call
Sure.
for sure. Like if like Death is like, hey Denji, like look like going down your route, like hey look, I fucked up. Like nuclear devils, I did not expect them to come back. Like now we need to put all of our eggs into powering up famine because Yoru's a lost cause. She's not gonna help us anymore. But whether that happens or I just think that in regards to just going with the Nostradamus prophecy, I feel like it would make sense for famine to have to cause some kind of mass starvation, some kind of mass issue herself before the apocalypse actually happens, just because that's how everything works. Um
Yeah, yeah. If there's any sorry to butt in, if
no,
there's
you're
any
good.
indication of what like the four horsemen represent, yeah, you're right. Like if we've essentially already seen a powerful control devil, now we're seeing the war devil. We're going to see Death maybe last receiving her Zenkai boost, right? Like, yeah, like we've seen Fami when she was basically a scrub, but now we're going to see how menacing she really is.
Yeah, I think we're gonna see a lot of devils again return, and I guess the main question, and I remember what I wanted to ask you. is now with Yoru admitting that she, you know what, screw Denji, I don't need him anymore. I love America. That's always been my one true love. What are your feelings in that in regards to like Yoru's character?
Mm. Well, I think this is like the point of no return or the beginning of it, where we, the audience, have to remember, and it's been sprinkled all throughout the part, but now we have to like just agree more or less that like, hey, Yoru is a devil. She's bad. We can't support her. Kind of like Aaron Yeager, right? Like there's a point where it's like, man, I was with Aaron like, you know, through most of the story, but now he's doing some crazy shit, right? I
Yeah.
think this is the part where it's like, okay, you know, and it also like makes Asa look way better, right? Like because
Mm-hmm.
we're cheering for Asa and Denji to get together, right? But I think this is also the thing that the Fire Devil is foreshadowing in what the early chapters of the Cockroach fiasco was too. It's like, okay, for Denji to save Asa, he also has to take her out at the same time. Who knows how all that is going to pan out? But
Ah, that
in
would
regards
be
to
that'd
yeah,
be so terrible. Imagine that the one girl that finally like is like actually likes Denji for who he is and doesn't want to exploit him, and like it's like, hey, look, like we've it's too gone now. We've got to kill her. Like that's
yeah.
such a fucking Fujimoto tragedy for fucking
Dude,
Denji, bro.
I know. It tugs at the heartstrings, right? And oh God, okay, just remember I mentioned Fire Punch. I'm gonna bring up Fire Punch in a second. But
Mhm,
to answer your question with Yoru is like what's gonna happen? Yeah, I don't think Yoru really gives a shit about Denji right now, right?
mhm.
Like I think she only cares because Asa cares, right? And that's the interesting thing. It's like, oh, they share the same brain. So, you know, we did see before the Falling Devil like take them both out, right? Like in chapter 209, 208, you know, like she couldn't do it. Like we
Mhm.
thought, like, oh shit. And I still believe this. I still believe Denji has to be turned into a weapon. I
Asa was
think
willing to
Denji has to be
sacrifice and spend explode, almost explode herself, and Yara was like, "Don't fucking do it. What are you doing? Don't fucking do this shit." And Asa was the one that did it and saved him. You're right. I didn't even think about it like that until you said that. Sorry. Go ahead.
yeah. Yeah, no. So that's why, and I mean, I said this a bajillion times too. The promotional image of Asa holding on to some like chainsaw,
Hmm.
it looks different. It's like again, it could be the coloring. I don't know. It looked black. You know, it just looked like, hey, this is prime Pochita as a chainsaw. I don't know. I'm just gonna leave it at that. But yeah, I think that ultimate choice, right? Like you know, Denji saved Asa during the Fallen Devil arc. We see it, you know, full circle. You know, a couple of chapters back, and you know, the Fire Devil said, hey, like you know, you kind of fucked up in that first choice, you know, don't fuck up again. And
Hmm.
it's like, okay, yeah, here's Asa who genuinely cares for Denji, but like, unfortunately, she's, you know, in this symbiotic venom style, you know, situation with Yoru. And it's like, look, if you don't kill Yoru, this is going to be a worse hell than death itself, which is kind of wild to say out loud, you know? Like whatever the Nostradamus prophecy is better than what Yoru's planning to do. That is fucking crazy. What is Yoru thinking? You know?
I know.
So yeah, go
No, go
ahead.
ahead.
So yeah, so I just wanted to say like I think Yoru likes Denji because they share the same brain with Asa, you know, and we saw Yoru, you know, not wanting to turn Denji into a weapon, but yeah, who knows that this like high on America is doing? And I thought you were honestly going to ask, are we going to actually see an American Devil?
Huh.
You know,
I
like
didn't.
that's going to be crazy too. Like, can you imagine? Like, oh yeah, no, I don't love him because here's an American Devil. Oh my god.
That would honestly, at
People are
this
gonna
point,
lose their shit.
it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, like as someone brought it up in chat, you know, it would make sense for there to be an American Devil if there's something like the Nazi Devil or something like that. Like obviously, you know, two entirely different things, but
Sure, sure.
at the same time, you know, there are definitely people across the world that have and harbor that fear for, you know, the country, the United States. There's plenty of countries that I could point to that I could say, yeah, these people are terrified of us. So it
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
is a possibility without a doubt. And also, again, just like what the Nuke Devil could possibly, like I said, like could that inspired fear, that inspired America, and that inspired Yoru to remember that was her one true love. It's possible. Why wouldn't that awaken a devil? Why wouldn't that exist? Um,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's possible. I don't know if Fujimoto would go completely that way. Um,
Yeah.
that I like. I would be interested to see what that would look like. I think Yoru definitely serves as like the embodiment of his messaging, but I would also be interested to see what the full on America Devil would look like at the same time. Um,
Yeah.
I so something that I think is interesting when it comes to like Yoru and like her love and everything like that, and her feelings towards Denji and everything like that. It's always been to me and seemed to me that like Yoru is just someone that just loves whatever was going to get her the most power. And while for most of the story it seemed like Asa and Yoru were slowly beginning to like merge their feelings together and merge their thoughts together and slowly become one, like also as of recently, there's also been a lot of them being very separate and them being completely, apart from each other. Almost like the moment when Yoru sacrificed the gun and Tank Devil in that moment when she's standing there and Asa's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And she's like, "I can't believe that you sacrificed your children." He goes, "Oh, isn't that like, aren't all children just property of their parents and everything like that?" And I've always thought that was like a stark moment where like Asa realized exactly what you kind of said, like what Fujimoto's kind of been trying to beat us over the head with recently, which is like, hey, Yoru's a devil. She knows she has her, her weird feelings and her, her current allegiances right now, but she's gonna be a devil always at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Um, and also I love that I love that you brought up the fire devil too, because that the where he's like, hey, I'm not mad at you, I just want to say you're gonna have to make that same choice soon, don't make the same mistake again. And yeah, like if because I'm curious if there's going to be a way to potentially, I've seen a lot of people in the community talk a lot about Asa and Yoru splitting completely or finding a way to actually separate their bodies somehow. I don't know if that's possible, but I think mentally it's been very clear since that aging devil moment, which, like you said, the aging devil arc is very important. Um, that from that moment they've seemed very separate and apart, almost like they inhabit two different spaces inside the mind, as opposed to constantly almost like coexisting like they used to, where Asa's talking and Yoru's kind of just standing right beside her mentally, and commenting on what Asa's doing. They haven't done that really any time recently. If Yoru's out and Asa's locked up. If Asa's out and Yoru's locked up. There's kind of really been no coexisting from that moment since, and I think that's also like that also kind of just makes me feel like why I think Yoru's going to be more going towards the final villain, because even in 210, Asa's like, Yoru, like what are you doing now? And she's like, yeah, shut up, like just sit there,
Yeah.
just
Like sit back and watch.
yeah,
Yeah.
sit back and be a good girl and just watch what
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I think I think you hit the nail on the head tying it back to the Fire Devil, because that's something that I wanted to bring up in the very beginning of the stream, is where that was definitely a very important moment. But something that I'm curious for you to for your perspective on, I guess, if unless you have anything to add on before I ask you this question.
Uh, no, but yeah, I think we kind of in the last stream we were talking about like who's the final villain. It's like no, it's not Death. It's going to be like Yoru.
Hmm.
Like I think we're already kind of there, But like now I think yeah we're here. And again, I don't know what the final choice is, but like this is a Fujimoto thing, right? Like okay, Denji, your choice is humanity is going to deal in this like war type of hell, or you got to kill the person you love.
Yeah,
Pick,
I
right?
think
Like
I've always thought that the cat thing is very important, and a lot of people in my own comment section argued with me and disagree with me on this heavily, but I still think it's very important. Um, because a lot of people want Denji to take accountability, right? That's what ultimately a lot of people think that what the Fire Devil was trying to get a hold of, was like, hey, you know what, like And also what kind of Asa even said to Denji to kind of pull him out of the falling devil thing. Like, you know, why do I need to continue on? Why do I need to keep fighting? Why do I need to keep doing this? He's like, hey, we're superheroes. Like, I don't know what else to say to you other than that. And it reminded me of, like, you know, bringing me all the way back to of one of the very first, I don't know if there was even a trope of this before this, but Uncle Ben, like, with great power comes responsibility. Like, Denji, you may not have asked to be Chainsaw Man. You may not want to be Chainsaw Man anymore, but like, you have this power to stop what happened to you happening from other people. Like, you, like, and that's almost what the Fallen Devil re-showed to Denji at the same time, right? Was like, hey, like, you were, and that's when the Fire Devil's question actually hit home for Denji. The Fire Devil outright asking Denji that, Denji was like, so who gives a shit? But when the Fallen Devil put him back into the mindset, that's when it finally clicked. Like, oh my God, I did to people essentially what was done to me. Like, when I was a child, I basically gave people fucked up futures, and now I'm going to continually do that and cause that for other people unless I kind of, what I said, own up to my responsibility. Like, I have a position to change the world and help the world, and it's not my, I don't owe anybody anything, but at the same time, if I don't do anything about it, I'm still a bad person. And that's what I think the Fire Devil was trying to get across of, with like, hey, you chose wrong last time. Don't choose the cat and don't choose a person. But I'm sorry, I know you want to say something.
No. But I was gonna say that's what makes that now in retrospective like all the more beautiful, right? Like, do you blame Denji for saving the cat? Like, not me.
No.
Like, I think, and you know, we have to, and it's a bit complex to answer that, because it's like how could he not say between the elderly or like some bright high school kid, right?
Well, something that I think is really important with the Fire Devil is he makes this big stink about the kids that raised him, similar to how Denji raised Pochita. But the Fire Devil has nothing to say about the carved people that also were on the chopping block as well, that got sacrificed as well. He was like, hey, these people idolized you, these people loved you, and you didn't save them. But also at the same time, like, my question to the Fire Devil, because I'm just fucking annoying, but like, I would have asked the Fire Devil, like, hey, what about the fucking carved people? You don't give a fuck about them? Like, the right choice of people was the people that I didn't know, that supposedly idolized me, that I never met. But fuck these people that didn't like me, that I feel like it's very much like very hypocritical in a sense of like, where I think that third choice of saving the cat, Denji seeing the cat, seeing the opportunity to save someone that no one else saw, I think is going to ultimately be what ends up happening again, where Denji's going to be presented with, do you save, did you kill Asa, or do you save humanity? And Denji's going to see that third option that no one else could ever see but him, and that's the choice that he's going to make. And that's what I've always kind of felt like. It's going to be the cat all over again, just completely different. Just it's going to be something that no one sees coming but him.
Yeah. I think you nailed it. It's that I couldn't have said that any better. That was exactly where I was going to go. The cat is the third option. This whole time, this whole narrative, God, Fujimoto's so good, man. We've seen all these little instances of stuff coming back full circle. I think that's it too. The Fire Devil's going to say, you know, you're going to kill Asa, or, you know, you're going to save, or you're going to kill Yoru to save Asa, or you're going to save Asa, but then if you try saving Asa, then Yoru's going to do this. No, there's a third option, the cat option. I don't know what the hell that is. Yeah. You know, if the cat option could also be a weird metaphor of like the blood devil, because that's power, and power meow is a thing, dude, that'd be a fucking slam dunk of a message too, you know?
Oh my God, the final battle in hell, and right before he's like, all right, let's get a final battle. Actually, you know what? Sorry, I'm going to save power and run away now. Peace out.
And think about this. I mean, talk about a crazy full circle moment. If it's like, it was power, with the help of power, that Makima was defeated. And now what if it's power again that's going to be the equalizer in this final battle? How fucking crazy is that, dude?
I love it, dude. Full circle, dude, man. Fujimoto's a genius.
Yeah. But going back onto the hypocrisy of the Fire Devil, this is what I'm going to have to, like, this is what my rebuttal is if I'm the Fire Devil, right? I think we've seen these instances of like Denji telling, you know, Asa, that like, hey, like you can be friendly with devils, right? You know, we even seen the chicken devil, right? The
Yeah,
chicken devil,
Bucky.
everyone loved the chicken devil. Yeah, you know, R.I.P. You know, and we seen how Pochita and Denji formed a relationship. We even see how the fire devil, if it was you know, now imagine the fire devil like Pochita having this wholesome relationship with these twins, right? Like that's why maybe his decision is a bit warped and a bit hypocritical, because like, hey, the right choice was the person I loved. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, fuck the
Hmm.
elderly in the car. Who cares about that? But then we also see another example within Asa and Yoru too. Can they coexist? Yes and no. And where the narrative was going in the beginning, it's like I thought many of us were predicting this. Yeah, you know, they're not gonna get along. Yoru hates Asa, but then like over time, we've seen them being you know, harmonic. And then now we're seeing them be pulled apart again, right? And I wonder if that's another lingering question too that might be full circle. Like, can devils and humans coexist? Because we've seen it with the fire devil vault thing with the twins, Pochito with Denji, Asa and Yoru. Is there something else that we aren't touching that's like kind of right there under our noses, right? So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you 110%.
yeah,
There's literally
yeah.
so much that is just hidden in the subtext of what Fujimoto's been writing. I mean, even what you're saying has goes with Nayuta, like what was like if Nayuta, you know, you cuz you
Yes.
even see there are like that's even one of the big struggles that Denji has and also leads to Denji being like, "You know what? Screw having a normal life. I hate that shit. I actually just want to be Chainsaw Man. This is so much better because as much as he did enjoy, you know, having Nayuta, raising Nayuta, helping her get to college and having all of the dogs and everything like that, at the same time he was giving up things because of things and that even me saying this now, it's almost like this has always been the main story of what Fujimoto has been trying to say, even going back into what the Fire Devil's main thing is like. It's like whatever life Denji does, he has to make sacrifices. He's going to he's going to have to make sacrifices. When he was living with Nayuta and living as a normal high school student, he wasn't able to go out and get girls when he wanted to because he had to go home and take care of Nayuta. He wasn't able to do this because Nayuta had her, you know, dominant personality and wanted this from her older brother and always kind of controlled him in a way. And even to the point that I feel like we kind of even talked about this before, where Yoshida's like, hey, like you can't have your life both ways. Like you can't live two lives. You have to choose one thing and you have to stick with it. You can't do both. Um, I just feel like it's almost like that's almost been what Fujimoto's trying to say, and what even what the Fire Devil is going back to is it's like, hey, like you have to give something up. You know, for if you are going to be Chainsaw Man, then you have to be this. The fake Chainsaw Man almost was like what the simulacrum of Chainsaw Man, what Denji always wanted Chainsaw Man to be, this heroic figure, and Denji's finally confronting this amalgamation of what Chainsaw Man is supposed to be, and he's like, dude, I completely disagree with you. Like I don't stand for you. I'm fighting against you and what you're saying. Like, oh, and even the fake Chainsaw Man's like, oh, you're gonna save that because you're gonna save the girl. Oh, you're gonna do this because of this. Almost like the fake Chainsaw Man was calling out Denji's own hypocrisy of like, you aren't being the Chainsaw Man that you say you want to be. And it's like there's just so much going into it. I don't even know if I'm making sense really. I'm just kind of like spitballing here,
Oh,
but
yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
just
No, I'm with you.
it's just crazy.
There was one question I wanted to ask you, and this is why I brought up Fire Punch. Uh,
Yes.
I kind of like I remember how it ended, like the last panel
Hmm.
being like so meta, right? Do you think that's where Chainsaw Man Part 2 is going? Because now that I look at Fire Punch and where we are now in Chainsaw Man Part 2, I feel like we're going to kind of get some type of meta ending where it's like, okay, and the only reason I bring this is because I was talking about the aging devil arc earlier, and I just
Hmm.
feel like again, that's some type of foreshadow to something like above something we aren't comprehending at this point because we're still missing major puzzle pieces, right? Like I don't understand in this verse of Chainsaw Man why, right? Because it's not the aging devil's doing. The aging devil said people in this verse
Yep.
they become trees.
On
That's
their
not
own.
me.
Hmm.
They just become trees on their own. They live up to 1 to 2,000 years. They reach, nirvana, and then they become reincarnated into a human. And going back to like the Charmeleon form of like what Pochita is, he's some devil we don't know yet. There's something with Pochita we haven't figured out yet. But
For
if we
sure.
see the symbolism of like life and death and cutting down the trees with the chainsaw, and I think there was even very subtle messages of like what Makima meant too, right? Wasn't Makima something about like hugging or loving or cutting down or some shit like that? So I feel like Fujimoto is going to expand on that within this part because this isn't Makima trying to take over the world. It's the Nostradamus prophecy is coming. Yet what is happening right now is going to be worse than that, which again, that is just crazy to say out loud, right? Like what is Yoru trying to plan? And now what Fami is maybe indirectly trying to circumvent while also trying to, keep Earth alive because she said like, hey, I'm kind of on your guys' side. Like I like food. I like to savor my friendships. I want to be in school, so yeah, Fami's definitely not the villain here. I think Yoru is definitely the one we gotta, look after. But where things start ramping up at this point, I mean, your guess is as good as mine, because yeah, I think now this is the time where we got to get some, lore, much needed, or what's the word? I was gonna say expedition, exposition. Thank you, exposition from like Fami's POV, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, tell us what the fuck is happening right now because this is crazy shit.
Yeah, we need the lore dump from Death right now. We definitely need the lore dump right now because
Yeah.
And it's so funny because you say that because I'm thinking here and I'm like we can unless you have anything else major too, we can kind of wind down in the next 10, 15, 20 minutes or so. But
Yeah.
unless you think there's anything major else to discuss. But I think it's so crazy
Yeah.
because I'm thinking as you're saying that, I'm like, can we even trust Death when she says that? Like, can we even
Mm,
literally when she's like, oh yeah, I'm on your guys' side. Come on. I love this
mm,
whole life thing. Like eating food, all this stuff. This is my favorite jam. And it's like, yeah, is it? Like everything you've done is in direct
oh,
opposition
yeah.
to that. So it's like it's so funny because like at this point it's like at the end of the day
Shit.
I can't the way that the story has gone in the last since the Aging Devil arc ended, I can't begin to tell you what's coming next. I feel like we've been thrown so many like just whiplash plot twists that like I can't, who knows what's going to happen in the next 10 chapters or so.
Okay, there's two things I have to bring up. Oh my god, just going off that point. So I think I even mentioned this in our last stream. I told you, the story about like the scorpion and the frog, right? Have you ever heard
Remind
that
me,
tale?
maybe we didn't talk
So,
about this.
so it's like some like I don't know if it's like a philosophy, moral of the story type of thing, but like the frog is trying to cross. No, I don't know. Is it the frog? I want to say it's the frog. I don't know. It's some type of insect. It's some insect that's like, hey, can you help me get to the other side of the pond? And it's a scorpion that does it. And the scorpion's like, sure, you can ride with me. And the frog or whatever animal was is like, okay, but how do I trust you that you're not going to do this? And it's like, well, because if I sting you, your weight will also make me drown. You know, so basically, spoiler alert. At some point in the middle, while they're traveling, the scorpion ends up killing the frog and ends up dying. And the frog is like, why are you doing this if you are going to die too? And the scorpion says, because it's my nature to do it. So you bringing up that whole thing with Death of like, is Death really here trying to prevent the prophecy? Or you're right, at the end of the day, not only is she a devil and devils are going to do what they want, she's the fucking Death Devil. Okay, so even if she's going to resist what her like innate ability or nature is, maybe that's kind of like another thing we got to look out for too. So
Yeah, you can't
yeah.
trust anybody. You can't trust anybody.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
guess the last question I can think of is do you think that now that Denji is basically on his own now, definitely, besides, obviously Little D, helping out. Whatever. Who knows if she will be even helping out? So it's tough to say what's going to happen next chapter. I guess we'll know then. Do you think that with that being revealed, Denji's greatest fears will be realized, in which that he has no choice but to be friends with Yoshida and Fumiko because he has no other people that will help him in the times of on his times of needs. Thank you, Loud. Thank you so much for the 10. Do y'all think the other things that were erased could be reinvented? Yes, Loud. We definitely we talked about this earlier. But yes, we definitely think that we're probably going to see some new devils for sure. Not new devils, but reborn devils like the Nazi devil, the AIDS devil. Earlier on in the stream, I think that was one of the first things we talked about. But
Yeah.
thank you for the dono, Loud. Love you. Always happy to see you in chat. I miss you. Go
Yeah.
ahead. I'm sorry.
What was the question again? Sorry, I was like agreeing with Loud Media's question.
I honestly, I completely forgot to. If you think Yoshida and Fumiko are gonna come back to the
Oh,
story to help Denji.
yes. Yeah. Yeah. I think unfortunately one of the things you and I both agreed upon is the lack of ensemble characters in this
Mhm.
story. And somehow Fumiko and Yoshida are our main cast. I don't like saying that. I don't like saying that. And damn, it really fucking now reminds me, which is like, I hope this gets touched upon. The conclusion of the Aging Devil arc with Fumiko pulling some fucking doppelganger bullshit, dude.
Yes.
This needs to be elaborated on. Maybe this is what we're going to find. You know, I don't want to say embarrassed, but I remember one of the things I was annoyed with, prior to the tank devil being revealed, right? Or
Mhm.
that whole tank battle that, happened with the falling devil. I thought Fujimoto genuinely forgot about Tank. I'm like, we're not going to see Tank. So when we got that tank devil moment with like all these weapons that were like absorbed and thrown at the fire devil, falling devil, that was a great moment. This is one of these things I'm also still scared about. Of like, okay, are we going to see what the fuck Fumiko did? What is her devil powers? Or is this going to be something that is going to be presented in this final battle against Death, or falling or against Yoru, right? It's a good question because yeah, I think we got to see Yoshida back, we got to see Fumiko back, and who knows, maybe this is where we get the cool like fire explosion scene where Kishibe is coming back with some like other devil hunters, and Reze's there too, right? Like,
The
who the hell knows, dude?
anti-Yoru squad. He's actually been built.
Yeah.
That's the entire reason he's been gone. He's been off building this in perfect squad and perfect weapon. Oh, actually,
Yeah.
sorry, Denji. I had to go make a contract with the fucking, I don't know, fucking the god devil to defeat death. I'm back now. Don't worry. It took me a couple months to fulfill the contract,
Yeah.
but we're good. I mean, we could only hope, right? I mean, like, honestly, at this point, now that Denji's on his own, we really do have like the wild card of what that we're in that portion of the Fujimoto effect. We're gonna go right back into what the fuck is going on. So like there are plenty of ways that this chapter could branch off with us. Again, I don't think Denji as a character by himself, I feel like I feel like he works better bouncing off of, like, he needs a straight man. Like, as weirdly as Chainsaw Man isn't necessarily a comedy, like, Denji needs someone that's not fucking batshit insane to be like, dude, what's wrong with you, dog? Like, this is what we need to do. And or maybe we're gonna get Denji on his own, and maybe I would even be interested of seeing that, I think. But I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, do you think, because I've seen a lot of people asking during the chat, you think we're going to see another Primal Fear?
Probably. I think we're gonna see a lot of primal fears from this point on. I think we're gonna see. I think we're gonna see, maybe not interact and encounter and fight with, but I think
Sure.
as we get closer and closer to the end, I definitely think Yoru's mention of all the high level devils returning to be at Death's to be kneeling in front of Death by the time she's ready for the apocalypse. I think that's not. That, like you said, Fujimoto doesn't say anything lightly. Any kind of dialogue is usually almost always important, and even if it's something small, like you said with oh yeah, Nayuta might come back. Yeah, we don't know. She might be different. Who knows? You
Mhm,
know, like I feel
mhm.
like all of that is important. Is thank you for the $2 loud. Is Fire Devil a primal fear? I think so, right? I think Yoru basically implied that when she was saying that's why the Fire Devil is here, because it's a high level devil working with or working for. I don't
Mhm.
know. I don't. I
Yeah, I don't
assume
know.
the Fire Devil is such a basic. It could be. I don't know. But also at the
Mhm.
same time, I think I also made the argument fire wouldn't be because like technically speaking, like I'm thinking of like if you've never touched fire before, you might not be afraid of it because you don't know it's hot. Like you know what I mean? Like it might not be something
Yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah.
innately born into the human psyche as opposed to like falling or like the darkness like that. Like you don't need a reason
Yeah,
to be scared of that. Like you're just like instinctually terrified of falling or instinctually terrified of the dark,
yeah,
whereas like
yeah.
a cat will
Yeah,
touch a stove as many times as it wants to until it gets burned, you know. So
yeah, yeah, no, I agree. I think Yoru said something like Fire was like a high-ranking general or something like that, or Fire was just gonna greet death, right?
hmm
So
if it
I
was
don't know if
primal,
it's
I
a
wouldn't
primal
argue too
football.
much, but I at
Yeah,
this
yeah, yeah,
point I
same.
couldn't tell you.
Same, same. I do like what you said. I would love to see more, not like Easter eggs, but like, yeah, like maybe show us a panel of like Darkness doing something. I don't know. I mean, Darkness is just so beloved because it's such a monstrous
Yes.
design. But like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't think the water devil is a primal fear, but like water is a scary thing in and of itself as well, right? Like
hmm
if you showed me fire, I kind of want to see like the other elements as well, right? So like show me a decrepit earth devil in a weird way, right? Because now the apocalypse is happening and just maybe even other things adjacent with Fami, right? And like, okay, we got to see her like awakened form. What the hell is that gonna fucking invite, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah,
No,
yeah.
I think
Really good.
oh go ahead.
No, no, no. I was gonna say just good point.
Yeah, I think I think with Yoru getting powered up by nuclear the nuke nukes being reinvented, I think it's very obvious that because the way that the four horsemen work, at the end of the day all roads are leading back to death. That's why death is the strongest devil. That's why because at the end of the day most devils that are powerful, that more the more fear is behind them, it's because of physical harm. You're going to get harmed from them. It's bad to happen. You're going to die from them. So like at the end of the day, I see it as the reason why most primal fears, most high ranking devils are going to show up anyway is because with the nuclear devil returning, that the sure that's a big boost for Yoru, but it's also a big boost for Death. So I think like even things like I'm trying to imagine what other primal fears might be, like maybe like the suffocation devil or like
Yeah, I think someone
things.
mentioned like mutilation too.
Yeah, maybe something like
Yeah.
that. Like there's a lot of things that could happen, but I think at the end of the day, we also don't know how many other devils that are already under Death's control to begin with. Like Death, what already had the guillotine devil, so like that's like something that like and like that's like such a funny little foreshadowing too. Like the guillotine that the Fami had the guillotine devil. Why does that make sense? Oh, you don't really think about it too much until you find out. Oh, well, that obviously it's staring us right in his face. So like a lot of these primal fears may even have to do with they're that's crazy. The
Yeah,
I
the image I shared with you, yeah, 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 I saw that and I'm like, oh yeah, because I'm looking at chapter 84 right now,
mhm.
and I can screenshot it to you too, just so you get a list of like these devils that has to show up. There's something I do have one more thing I actually wanted to ask you. You know when Makima like controlled Denji, right? Like after the trauma dumping of like her father and all that stuff, or of his father, he was greeted by basically not his apostles. I forgot what Makima called it, but it was like these seraphim that was
Yeah, I remember. I
vowed for,
remember
right?
exactly
Like
what
with
you're
like
talking about.
violence and like some type of bug and like I don't know, angel or maybe not angel. I don't know. Do you feel like we could see them again and they might even be a part to help Denji?
Ah,
You
give
know,
me Beam back. I'll take it back any day. Please give me Beam back and give me
yeah,
Violence
yeah,
back
right. Like
too. That'd be so
because I
cool.
think someone said there was like some like it was broken down. I don't know. I saw some video where they're like, "Oh yeah, this is what each of like Denji's like apostles represent, what they do, with the biblical meaning behind it." And again, if we're already going here, if we're at this point in Chainsaw Man Part 2, is Fujimoto gonna bring it again, like to God and anything meta and above that? Because that's why I brought up Fire Punch too. It's like that ending was like super meta to the point where it's like, oh, here's existence and here's life, and now here's kind of like another thing of us watching the movie theater and we're the audience, and I don't know. It's like going way above the scope of our comprehensions. And I wonder if Fujimoto's going to take it there as well.
True. Oh yeah, true. Because that kind of was we kind of got off topic a little bit. I will say I never read, or I don't know how Fire Punch ends. So I can't speak on that. So I don't know what you mean by meta. But I will say I do know how like Look Back ended with just like randomly just like just like a full story, and then randomly, all right, I'm gonna kick a bunch of fucking people's ass in a fake dream world, and that's to make myself feel better for like your death or something like that. And I'm like, all right, that's it. So like when you say meta, like that's what my mind goes to. So I don't know if that's what you mean.
Sure.
Or like you mean something
That's
different.
exactly what I mean. So I guess I won't spoil Fire Punch for you, but like the very last panel is like basically that.
Okay.
It's like, I think it's an okay story. Right?
Gotcha.
But yeah. Like the final pages, you're like, okay, this is just what the fuck are we talking about now?
Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. Yeah. At this point, again, nothing in this series surprised me anymore, especially with the way that Fujimoto's been doing things lately, where like it's just like the bombs that have been dropping are insane. So I can't keep up. It's impossible to predict.
Yeah. That's it for me, man.
That is also it for me, brother. I appreciate you so much coming on as always. Is there anything that you would like to promote, or anything that you would like to bring up or talk about while you've got the microphone?
No. I appreciate it, man. Yeah, thanks for having me. It's a pleasant time discussing and nerding out about Chainsaw Man, because I'm not doing it as much anymore. So I'm glad you hit me up, and we had a good chance to talk about this, because I mean, this is this is a crazy chapter for sure. Oh, there is one thing I wanted to say.
Yes.
It was early on in the stream. Whenever this gets animated in like fucking 2030, 2035,
yeah.
I really want to see. I mean, I'm curious to see how the Gun Devil sequence is going to be animated as well. Whenever we get, season 2 of Chainsaw Man.
Yeah.
How when the Star Spangled Banner is being like sung in this chapter, right?
Yeah, I'm waiting for someone to do an animated video for it for sure. I'm sure someone will, without a doubt, because you're so right. Yeah. That will be a fucking legendary moment. I wonder if they'll even. I feel like we're not. I feel like we probably wouldn't care. I feel like they could probably get away with just doing it. I feel like Japan wouldn't hold back. Maybe they would. Maybe they wouldn't. I don't know. That's interesting to think about. Honestly, under this administration, they might hold back. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
But either way, no, I'm very interested to see that too. And you bringing up the Gun Devil and everything like that whole sequence is going to be fucking insane. So I guess this is a funny way to leave off. Because we'll end it after this. I don't want to keep you any longer. I feel like I don't remember where I was. Maybe it was a earlier stream a week or two ago, and I was talking about Chainsaw Man and the Rize movie. And we were talking about how Demon Slayer is going this whole movie trilogy for Infinity Castle route. I said, wouldn't it be fucking crazy if Mappa said, screw it, we're not doing any TV seasons for Chainsaw Man. Chainsaw Man is a completely movie only series. How would you feel if that was an announcement that was made, that Chainsaw Man is movie only? Because I don't know if International Assassin's arc would flow well, but most of the arcs really aren't that long. Like, that's honestly something that I'm like, damn, they probably could do that if they really fucking wanted to.
Okay, so this is a complex question, because I think we have to, because Demon Slayer is going to be a trilogy, right? But like that whole Muzan Infinity Castle arc, right? No spoilers, of course, for people who don't know, but like it was fucking long.
I think it's like 40, 50 something chapters, or maybe it starts at chapter 80. I don't remember. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm talking to myself.
No. I mean, yeah, I could have sworn maybe it was like 50, 60, 70 chapters. I don't know. But when you say it like that, it's like, okay, well, the average, 20-minute anime episode, if done proper without being rushed, is what, like 2 to 3 chapters, a chapter and a half, two. So like if you were to do the math that way, um, the Bomb Girl arc is what, I think maybe 10 to 12 chapters,
Yeah.
and that movie might be about an hour and a half. So like I know the International Assassins is 30 chapters. So I don't know how that could be a movie. I mean, again, there's a lot of action sequences, so maybe things could be, rushed, or not rushed, but like well paced. But some things would have to be slowed down for sure. So to answer your question, it's like, dude, if there's anything I would love to be turned into a movie, the scene and turned into a movie, yeah, it would be the Gun Devil arc for sure. Right? Like, give me the second half of the International Assassins arc onward. But then at that point now, that just gets muddled, right? So I don't know. I mean, if we get that trilogy announcement type of thing, right, and they slap International Assassins, or wait, no. I guess they can do International Assassins by itself because it's the lengthiest part. And then you slap Gun Devil with the Control Devil arc, because that really seems to be more of a
it all kind of flows
cohesive
together. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Because now you find out that Makima is the villain, and now you end up finding out like, oh shit, she was a mastermind all along, and now we got to like, take her out, right? Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Would you want to see it turned like?
Absolutely fucking not. I just want to hate the movie shit. I hate it. Let me go back to the old days when we got the original filler movies, bro. Give me my original stories. I fucking hate this turning arcs into movies and then we're gonna re-release it as a season right after. Fuck off.
Yeah. But that was the other thing I wanted to ask you. So yeah, I agree, because waiting 2 to 3 years, I think even if it would keep Chainsaw Man as a series more in the zeitgeist of the anime world, those few and far in between waits would just be really long, right? But what was I going to say? Oh, but pivoting from Chainsaw Man, it's like, but do you believe after season 3 of JJK, we see the entire battle of Sukuna versus Gojo into a movie? Because I would love to see that be turned into a movie.
That would probably be the bet. That would make the most sense for sure. I could see them doing that with like, because that's like the perfect amount. That's almost like the same length as the Bomb Devil arc, and also at the same time it's just straight up action. So it's not even like you have to spend a lot of. I could 100% see them doing that without a doubt, because first of all, I feel like every single one and their mother would go buy that ticket and go. That I see that definitely being in our future without a doubt. 852K, thank you for the 2. Is the Rize agenda for part 2 dead now? I was gonna say earlier, you reminded me now. I think Fujimoto's gonna bring Rize back when the Rize movie comes out. I feel like he's gonna parallel. I feel like that's what he's been fucking waiting for. That's why every time everyone's like, oh my god, she's gonna come out, Fujimoto plans to bring her out, but they're like, sorry bro, we gotta push this movie back, and he's like, all right, and Rize's not coming back yet. I'm telling you, I don't know.
Shit.
But that would be crazy if he did that.
You saying that? I mean, come on. I know people were saying that a long time ago, and I'm like, this movie ain't fucking dropping for a while, and when it does, we're gonna be in a different part in Chainsaw Man. But the stars are fucking aligning.
It's almost aligning too well, right?
It's almost aligning. And not to give too much spoilers with One Piece, but like the reveal of Emu, some like big character in One Piece. I don't know if you read One Piece.
I know enough to know who you're talking about. Yeah.
There is something called One Piece Day, because I played the One Piece card game, and Emu is like revealed to be like one of the leaders you can play with for set 13, which would be the 3rd anniversary. And people are predicting, like, we haven't seen he or she yet announced as a leader, but like,
okay, go ahead.
They showed the silhouette, and people are like, what if they reveal her during One Piece Day, and that is also the same time we're going to get the reveal of her during like a manga chapter. Like they timed that shit together. So like, yes, now like Reze being reintroduced when the Bomb Girl arc movie comes, if you take the 2 weeks breaks in consideration and the 14-page chapters and where we are now in Chainsaw Man, yeah, dude, call it Cope. Sign me up.
Bro, how crazy would it be if right after the Rize movie drops, Fujimoto starts pumping out like fucking 20-page chapters, and he's like, "Yep, that's all I was fucking waiting for. All right, let's go. Come on, let's speed this story up a bit. We've been going way too slow." That would be like, like, oh my god. But
Yeah,
obviously
yeah,
at this point we're just two grown men smoking their pipe, talking about the dreams
yeah,
that come
yeah.
out. But yeah, I guess that's the perfect way to end off. So yeah, thank you so much for showing up. Unless you have anything to end with now, obviously go subscribe to DJ Miles. Channel is in the description. Channel is in the title. Go check out my man's merch website, Nen Garden, right?
Yeah. I still got some Chainsaw Man mats for sale. So you got one yourself.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah,
sir. I'm
yeah,
gonna try.
yeah.
I'm trying to put it up actually on my wall. I'm redesigning. All of my shit back here. That's why I have my canvas down and everything. So I'm trying to find like the perfect spot I can like just go all out on my wall. I'm excited. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Loud
good
media is just
quality stuff.
the mat
It's
goes
good quality
hard.
stuff.
So yeah. That mat, actually, guys, I'll tell you. I think what's today? Wednesday. Yeah. So it might be tomorrow or Friday. I'm having my 1 year anniversary sale of Nen Garden. It will be a year since I started the merch store. That
Heyo.
mat specifically will be discounted to $20.
We love it.
So now's the time. If you guys never got it before, here's your chance to go ahead and get it. It's going to be marked at $20, super reasonable price, and yeah, one of the dopest designs on the site for sure.
Hell yeah. All right, awesome. I got nengarden.com. Got it in the chat. Thank you, 85 for the 5. Think fire with fire, bomb versus bomb, girlfriend ex versus ex-girlfriend. True.
Mm,
Very
mm, mm.
true. But all right. Thank you so much, Mr. Man, for showing up and being here on the stream. Always appreciated. I gotta catch up to Blue Lock, and maybe when I do, maybe I'll hit you
Sure.
up, and maybe we can do a nice little stream chat about that. I'll let you know my feelings
Yeah.
about catching up. I left off at PXG, like in the middle of PXG, so I didn't finish
Oh,
that match, so I don't know anything that happens after that. But I've seen some things. I got spoiled, I think, on Nagi. I don't know exactly what happened, but I think I kind of had the YouTube videos, all the YouTube videos that dropped when it happened. So I kind of know, but
yeah.
everything else is kind of in
Yeah.
the dark. So I need to catch up on that.
Sure,
But
sure, sure.
but I
Well,
wish you
well,
the
well,
best
well,
of luck. Oh, go ahead.
when I said I had to like unfollow you on Twitter because like you were talking about Expedition 33, it's like I apologize in advance now if this is me spoiling what happened to Nagi. But let me tell you where we are now in the story. It literally doesn't fucking matter. So whatever you heard about Nagi, it doesn't fucking matter. Okay.
Okay, good. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. I
Yeah.
gotta I gotta
So
catch up on that. I just started reading Trojan X right now, so I'll
ooh, okay.
space out my motherfucking read throughs. But um
Yeah.
are you caught up with Danadon yet?
I just read the latest chapter.
Okay.
Yeah.
We will set
Yeah.
something up
Yeah.
for that sometime soon. We can maybe get a little Danadon discussion. But
Mhm.
I'll stop yapping your ear
Absolutely.
off, and I will let
No,
you
no, no.
enjoy the rest of your night, brother man. Thank you again so
Yeah.
much for popping in. I appreciate you as always. And the next time we get a big chapter, I'm sure I'll hit you up.
Sounds good, man. Take care. Thanks for having me. Good night to the chat. And yeah, stay hydrated. Drink your water, everyone.
Always drink your water. Yes, sir. Words to live by. All right, everyone have a good night. Thank you all so much, and hit the like button on your way out, guys. Have a